guys, welcome back to Moogie Sun Podcast. I'm Summer,
And I'm Lynn.
and this is episode 12. This episode's going to be about dating, but before we jump in, we wanted to address the Asian hate crime that happened in Atlanta and that has been happening all over America.
Yeah, there's been a significant increase over the past year of Asian hate crimes statistically compared to beforehand. And we just wanted to, express our condolences to the victims of the Atlanta shooting. And the reason we want to talk about it is not just because it was an Asian hate crime, but the root of it is something that we talked about last week a little bit. The shooter did mention that he was targeting places of temptation, but he specifically sought out Asian owned and Asian operated spas. And I think most of his victims were Asian women.
Mm-hmm.
And that says a lot about how Asian women are portrayed and viewed in American society, at least, that they're inherently sexualized. And it doesn't matter because actually, I think most of the victims were mothers. And I think one was a grandmother too. And it, these places, even if they were places that had sex work happening, that's not really the point. Like, even if it was happening, the point is that, Asian women are inherently sexualized in the United States, and that is probably why he, had a target of, like, they were his target of temptation, in his words.
Yeah, it wasn't just because he had a quote bad day, that's just so fucking irritating. But yeah, I mean, there's like Glenn said, there's this view of specifically Asian women that's just fetishized,
Hmm.
and I mean, we talked about this in our last episode. I mean, it was
Yeah.
so crazy how our episode came out on the same day that we started hearing about that.
Yeah, we record the episodes like a week or so before we post
Mm-hmm.
them. So we didn't start seeing the news about it until later that day after it was posted. So we didn't really have a chance to address it in that episode. So we just wanted to touch on it here because we know it's something that's happening and has been happening. I actually tried to have a serious talk with my mother because I didn't feel that it was very safe for her because, she's in that target demographic of like middle-aged Asian women that
Mm-hmm.
people tend to target because I guess, they're seen as like they're not going to be able to fight back.
Yeah.
So I had a serious talk with her about trying to, stay safe because a lot of these issues aren't just happening in highly populated Asian populated areas. They're happening everywhere and they've been on the rise, and some of them have been like caused obviously death and a lot of violence,
Mm-hmm.
and it's scary.
Yeah.
It's scary to like think that anyone in that side of my family could be a target, and that either one of us, especially now that with like mask mandates and stuff, if we're Asian passing, we could be a target too.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
it's just scary to think about.
Yeah. Even a friend of ours shared an incident that happened really close to where we all live.
Hmm.
And honestly, prior to seeing that post, I was like, oh, it's highly unlikely that this would happen in our area. But that was seeing that post was such a wake up call because I never thought that something like that could happen in our area.
Hmm.
I mean, this girl didn't die, but she was assaulted, like she was injured,
Hmm.
and she was just like going for a run in her neighborhood, or she was just like standing or walking outside in her
Hmm.
neighborhood, and she got like injured and like assaulted from this person because she's half Asian.
Yeah, she's a halfie too. It's
Yeah.
not targeted even at any specific demographic in the sense besides just if you look East Asian to somebody.
Hmm. Yeah,
Like it's just happening. So it's scary.
it is scary, and I just wanted people to take this very seriously and to know that yeah, it can happen where you are, no matter how safe you feel. It can happen. Oh, another thing I wanted to share, my mom told me that Japanese embassy, I think, like
Mhm.
sent her an email saying like, oh, when you go out, try not to be so open about being Asian, or like try to hide that you're Asian so that you can protect yourself, which
Mhm.
is extremely upsetting and sad because you shouldn't have to hide who you are, but to be safe.
Yeah, there's been a lot of like information kind of being put around like how to talk to older Asian populations about how to stay safe. A lot of information in different languages spoken in Asia for older people here, like how to stay safe and defend yourself if something happens, and like not, trying not to go places alone and stuff like that. So it's very real and it's very scary. Like I know
Yeah.
people who aren't Asian, if they just see this, they're like, oh, it's a tragic thing and like it's not good that racism is happening and being acted upon. But to be living as an Asian and internalizing kind of what is happening is very scary. It's gonna take more than just an Instagram repost to really like address it, because it's scary to go outside into a public place,
Yeah.
honestly.
And we, sometimes I forget this, but Lynn and I live in a state that's like, there are definitely racists here. We may not see them, but
It's not as progressive or liberal as like a lot of other states
like
can be.
there, yeah, like there
It's
are
like a
still,
recently flipped blue state, like very recently in the past
and
like decade.
yeah, and like you're not gonna be surprised if you live here and you've been living here, you wouldn't be surprised of seeing a Confederate flag like on the side of
Hmm.
the road.
Yeah.
It's like that kind of a place. Although I have to say, like, we also live in a pretty diverse area as well, though. Like, the part of the state that we live in.
Yeah, we're
Um,
in a pocket that's definitely more tolerant
mm-hmm.
and more diverse, but there's still, no matter where you go, there's still going to be people
Yeah,
on that side of like the extreme. So we just want everyone to stay safe and, express our condolences for the victims of the Atlanta spa shootings and hope their families can recover.
yes.
So, with that said, I think our message has gotten across. So now we can start talking about another thing that happened after we recorded that would have been perfect for the last episode, which is about what came out about the royal family, the British royal family,
Yeah.
a couple weeks ago. I feel like it's old news now. I feel like no one's really talking about it anymore. But
um,
you actually watched this interview with Harry and Meghan, so I'll let you talk about it a little bit.
yeah, we thought it was important to bring it up on our podcast because, one, Megan's biracial. So, obviously that's really important to us. And another reason we wanted to mention that is because they talk about some really serious, or they make some really serious allegations against the royal family that, honestly, to me, I wouldn't be surprised if they were true, and I kind of
Yeah,
believe that they are.
yeah, they're probably
Um,
true.
yeah. So one of them that specifically that we wanted to talk about was that Megan mentioned that there was question about the color of her, what the color skin of her child would be. And
Ew.
I mean, that's just disgusting. I just, I mean, she didn't give a lot. They actually, Harry and Meghan they kind of refused to say who brought up this conversation in the interview. So we don't know who in the royal family, or even if it was the royal family. They also talk about like the institution, which is like who, I don't know what to call them, like the executives, I guess, who like work with the royal family, if
Like
that
the
makes
staff.
sense. yeah, it's like staff, but
They kind of take
um
care of
like
stuff.
admin. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Like they call them the institution. I don't know if it was the
That's so ominous.
institution. Yeah, I know, right? It's so creepy. I don't know if it was like the institution that made that comment or if it was like somebody within the family that made that comment or
Hmm.
was concerned about that. But
Yeah.
we just wanted to like reiterate that obviously that's wrong and you shouldn't be concerned about the color of I mean they shouldn't have been concerned about the color of Meghan and Harry's child's skin.
Yeah,
Like,
because the way that in that context and the way it was done, you can't say that that's not about them worrying he's gonna be, darker skinned.
mhm. Which also kind of like means that they never really accepted that Meghan was also part black too. You know,
Yeah.
like they always like that confirms that they've always like had reservations about it and they probably still do.
Yeah, because if you think about like if Harry ended up marrying anyone else that was like, a monoracial white person,
Yeah.
the same conversation wouldn't happen,
Yeah.
obviously. Like even if it was like a tan white person,
Yeah.
someone who is naturally, a little darker than someone who's like extremely pale,
Yeah. Yeah.
like it still wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
So we just wanted to touch on that because, like, how some people, especially in our last episode where we talked about people, it's like almost people that fetishize like mixed babies. They're asking it almost in the opposite way, like that they hope that they have like this caramel toned skin or whatever.
Mhm.
But then it's kind of the opposite here where they're hoping that there's no trace of blackness at all.
Yeah, basically. I mean,
Ugh.
yeah, that's what they were saying. And also, it was crazy. They were showing like side by side comparisons of like articles written about Kate, William's wife,
Hmm.
like articles about her and articles about Meghan, and like they were about similar things. And the articles about Meghan were significantly more negative than like the articles about Kate.
Oh,
Like,
of course.
yeah, and it's so clear it's just because she's black.
Yeah.
It's
Like,
just
there's
so
no
awful.
reasonable explanation about why they
Yeah.
would be any different. Like, if they were both negative, it would be
Yeah.
wrong. If Kate's was more negative than hers, it would, that would also be wrong.
Yeah. And they were like articles about the dumbest things, to be honest. Like it doesn't matter. The article about Kate was like, "Oh, she's eating avocados for breakfast to battle like nausea during the pregnancy." And then like the one about Megan was like, "Oh, she's like I don't remember exactly what the title was, but it was like she's her precious avocados are causing turmoil over something like some I don't remember what it was, but it was like clearly negative and like both articles just made no sense. And I was like, why is this an article about them eating avocados? But also
Yeah.
why is one like praised and the other is brought down? Well,
When they're
we
doing
know
the
why.
exact same thing,
Yeah.
eating avocados
Yeah.
while pregnant.
And we know why. It's because Megan is black.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
It's just
just there's like
irritating.
a history of rhetoric. And see, I can input my linguistics knowledge here. There's just an overall history of rhetoric being negative, like comparatively between men and women, and then negative rhetoric with white people versus everyone else. Like
Mhm.
systematically, more negative things are written about women, and more negative things written about people of color. You know,
Mhm.
it just be racist and sexist like that.
Yeah. Um
But yeah, we just wanted to address that. We were very annoyed that it happened like the day after we were recording.
yeah.
So we wanted to talk about it in this episode.
Yeah.
So I guess we can, unless you have anything else, you have something else to say about it.
Not really. I mean, there were a lot more things that happened in the interview, but if you want to get irritated and upset, go watch the interview if you have Hulu. It's on there. That's how I watched it. It was pretty. interesting and not really shocking, to be honest.
Got some good Oprah memes out of it.
Yeah. And there were some, I mean, her reactions were spot on during the interview. I mean, her reactions were my reactions. I was like, what? That's crazy, even
I
though
feel
I'm
like
not
she's
really
more
surprised.
surprised. Yeah, I feel like she was more surprised, like for the camera, than than people actually probably were surprised about what was said.
Yeah. I mean, 'cause like it's just kind of, I don't know why. It's expected, but it kind of is.
You think the same institution that colonized a bunch of non-white countries in the past couple centuries is gonna not say something racist?
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway,
Yeah.
I think we can start on today's episode, the main, the
Yes.
meat, the main meat.
Which will be a lot more lighthearted than these past couple episodes.
Yeah, we've been doing some really heavy stuff, so we kind of wanted, well, we wanted to get the serious stuff done first, as we usually do if we have kind of a mixed thing of, fun and
Yeah.
serious. So now we can get into the fun stuff, long
Mhm.
overdue. So we wanted to talk about dating,
Mhm.
and we feel like, people should listen to us because we're mixed, so maybe we have a different perspective on how dating works. So, what do you like in a guy, Summer?
Let's see. What do I like in a guy? It's weird because it's changed a lot.
Oh, yeah.
I think when I was younger, I guess I'll just go from yeah, when I was younger, I just really liked the skater dudes and the soccer players.
That's very
Very,
specific.
I know. No, I didn't like seek them out. You know, I actually have dated like quite a variety of different people,
Hmm.
but or dated. I don't even know if you can call it dating really. I mean, it was more like crushes, like puppy love, you know? It's like
Hmm.
middle school to high school dating. I really don't count that much.
Yeah, that's
If
not actually dating. That's
no,
like you walk each other to class and hold hands.
yeah, you hold your sweaty hands together.
You
Like
don't
it's
even
not.
meet up outside of school.
Yeah, like you do like once in a while, and like your parents have to like drop you off at the movie theater.
Hmm.
It's not really dating.
Hmm.
Um, I thought of it as dating at the time, so I'm really just gonna call it like crushes,
Hmm.
but even if it was mutual. But yeah, I don't know. I guess I was just really into like athletic guys.
Hmm.
Honestly, I don't want to be mean, but I feel like there weren't a lot of smart guys in my classes. And I feel like all of the guys that I had crushes on were not all of them were the smartest tool in the shed. And I mean, I guess I should just say like what type of person I'm dating right now because it's the person I'm dating right now is totally different than I mean like anybody I thought I would be dating.
Oh yeah, so you're off the market.
Yeah, so are you. Off the market. You're
Oh
making
no,
me
we've been
sound
exposed.
as if we haven't talked about it already. Um, yeah, I don't know if I answered that question very well though, what my type is. I mean, oh, I also wanted to say like I don't really have like a preference. Okay, I have only really dated. I did kind of date slash have a crush on like a halfie,
Hmm.
which that's really to me I totally understand dating somebody who's similar to you
Hmm.
because you can relate a lot and it's just like really easy to like the
Yeah.
person because you guys have a lot of similar experiences and stuff and
I
like
feel like especially for Asian people to date each other because
yeah.
you share a lot of the same cultural, even as Asian Americans, you share a lot of the same cultural background and values and experiences. So
Yeah,
it's easier to connect.
exactly. It's just easier to connect. And we're still friends to this day. Like, he's a really good person, just not the one for me. But I have mostly, my God, no. Now that I'm thinking about it, I've really had crushes on like all races,
Hmm.
but right now I am dating a white man. And the person before that was also white, but they're very different.
Well,
But we'll get
obviously,
into
one's with you now and one's not with you now. So,
we'll get into that later. But should I describe my boo, or
if you want.
should we like do preferences first, like on both sides, and then go into like the details of our current significant others?
Oh, yeah, maybe we should both do our preferences first.
Okay, Lynn, what are your preferences? I don't even know if I answered that question very well,
It's
but
okay. It's whatever you feel in your heart how to
yeah, I
answer
don't.
that question.
I just like. I mean, you don't. I feel like everyone's like, "Oh, what's your type? What's your type?" And like, you don't really have to have a type, and it's okay if like
Yeah.
you're if you date different people. Like, you don't have to stick to one thing.
Hmm.
You don't have to
Yeah.
stick to like one preference or like a set of preferences. Like, it doesn't matter. I mean, you just
Yeah.
go out with who you like, as long as they're a good person. But
And
we'll
it's
get
not a
into.
fetish.
Yes, exactly. It's not a fetish, it's not obsession. Okay, what are your preferences?
Well, I'm like you. I've had crushes on guys of all races.
Mm-hmm.
I I'm kind of the same where like when I was younger, like middle school, high school,
Mm-hmm.
like the athletic guy looking guy is kind of like what you want to go with.
Yeah.
I am mostly looking for someone who's like funny. Honestly, that's like the biggest thing for me is like they gotta be funny.
Oh, dang, I didn't even talk about these kind of preferences. Okay, go on. Oh, we'll
Yeah, I
come back
mean,
to me.
yeah, we'll come back to you. I That's just like that's pretty important for me actually is like I mean, obviously everyone can say like they have to be funny and you have to like, be smart and stuff like that, but like
Mm-hmm.
being funny is actually pretty important for me. Like if you don't make me laugh, I'm not gonna have a good time with you. So,
Yeah, I mean, can you imagine like not laughing with your significant other?
yeah,
Ew.
that's gross. But my for my more serious relationships, they've actually both been like my first serious relationship and my current relationship have both been monoracial Asian guys. So I've never dated a white man.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
you've never dated like an Asian man. So that's another,
Yeah.
fun dynamic we have.
Yeah, it's we're so different, but we're so similar in so many ways.
I know.
Um, yeah. Do you have any other preferences you want to talk about before we go back to me? Because I totally forgot.
Um, this is like really specific, but I can't stand facial hair.
Mm. Yeah.
I can't do it. Like it when it touches my face, it feels nasty. Like it hurt it like
Mm-hmm.
is so rough on my face. I don't like it. I think you look like even if it's like nicely trimmed, like
Mm-hmm.
some like if you can really 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 pull it off, like it's
Yeah.
okay. But like honestly for me it just feels like you're not, cleaning your face.
Yeah.
But that's like I'm saying, that's just my personal preference. Like I know some people really like facial hair and they like don't like
Yeah.
guys without facial hair.
Yeah.
Um, I am anti facial hair, like facial hair averse, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just like one really specific thing that I don't like as a preference.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have a lot of friends who like facial hair a lot. I personally don't, but I have found some men attractive when they have like it's a well maintained, well trimmed facial, like a beard.
Hmm.
But I usually am not into that. I'm in the same boat as you.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
want to feel like scratching around my face when you like get close to me. Like, don't do
yeah.
that.
I yeah, I don't really want that either. That's just a preference. But I agree. I really need humor because I also need kind of like the same type of humor.
Hmm. Yeah, that's pretty
Because
important.
yeah, because as long as we can laugh together, I think that's just like really important. But I have like really, I have a really dark, I have a dark sense of humor, and I have
Hmm.
def, self-deprecating humor. I really like that. I think it's really funny. And not a lot of people like that though. Not a lot of people like sarcasm. I really love sarcasm. So I think that was really important for me
Hmm.
and is really important for me, not just for like a significant other, but for like friendships as well.
Hmm.
Also, I'm trying to think, what else do I look for in a person? Now, just somebody that respects me as much as I respect myself.
Yeah. Hmm.
Um, because, I mean, I guess we'll get into that later, but that's really important. And I didn't know that before. And also somebody who like respects others too. Like I've seen so many BuzzFeed quizzes where they're like, what's this like make it or break it thing like for relationships? And like
Uh-huh.
a lot of the ones that they talk about are like if they're rude to the waiter, like
Yeah.
like that's just like a no way. I'm not going to be dating you. Like
Yeah.
you have to
How
be
they
nice
treat
to
other
people.
people. Hmm.
Yeah, exactly. You have to be nice to people or treat others how you want to be treated. Of course there are situations where like the other person definitely deserves to be treated like an asshole because they're an asshole. But
I think though I feel like those specific people think like they only have to be nice to their significant other
yeah,
and
yeah,
not
I've
treat
seen
everyone else nicely. But like,
yeah.
why would you not want, like, yeah, your significant other, maybe you treat nicer than other people in general, but you should still treat everybody nicely.
Yeah, exactly. Like you should be nice to everyone. I mean, you know, nice to everyone, of course, not if they're not nice to you,
Hmm.
but you should be like sweet and caring to your significant other.
Hmm.
Of course, you're gonna be, like Lynn said, nicer and more caring than to like the average Joe on the street.
Yeah.
But you need to be respectful of other people, even if you don't know them. Also, somebody who's just like got good hygiene,
Oh, yeah.
like, and and also another thing. Oh man, I'm thinking of so many things that has ambition too.
Hmm.
If you don't, it's just like really gonna, for me, it's just like gonna bring, I think it'll bring me down, honestly,
Hmm.
and make me less ambitious.
Hmm.
And honestly, I don't want to be with somebody that's just gonna settle for anything and everything in life.
Oh, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Do you prefer someone who like likes to go out for dates or is like a homebody?
Mm, that's tough. What do you mean go out?
Uh,
Like anything, like a restaurant to like going rock climbing, like anything about going out, or
like
like
in order for it to be a date, they're like you have to be not in the house.
oh, I mean,
Like
I don't know.
for everything.
I want somebody who's like in between that.
Mhm.
Like I don't know if we've mentioned this before. I'm very much like a homebody, but
Mhm.
and like an introvert, but I do like socializing with my friends that I know.
Mhm.
If that makes sense, it's complicated. Because like I don't like talking to people that I don't know and I get nervous and I get anxiety over it. But anyway, I like being at home a lot, but I also like going on adventures with people I like and people I know and that I'm close
Mhm.
with. Like this past weekend, I went off-roading with my boo, and it was like a lot of fun. Like I would say that's a pretty outdoorsy like date.
Mhm.
But I also really enjoy being at home playing video games
Mhm.
with like on the Switch or something, or like
Mhm.
just watching a movie. I don't know. I think I'm really in between. I need variety. What about you?
I think I'm slightly more of a homebody than you.
Mm-hmm.
But like, yeah, I like to go out sometimes, like to do like certain things, like, you know.
Mhm.
but I think I would overall prefer, because I also like really think even if you're in the same room and you're just like, even if you're not really doing the same thing, but just like being in the same space to me is very important. So
Yes.
for me, I don't really have to be going out on a date or anything.
Yeah.
Just kind of existing in the same space is really nice. So I'll just like mention it now. That's kind of what I really like about my current significant other is like, especially because when we started dating, I was like, and still now, I'm still in grad school. So a lot of times, I would have to be doing homework when we were together, but
Mhm.
so he would like be doing his own thing and I'd do my own like my homework and stuff, but we're like existing in the same space. And I still felt very like good to be in that position. Like we didn't have to be going out because like I had stuff to do, but we're still kind of doing our own thing,
Yeah.
but like together.
Yeah. No, I experienced the same thing too. I totally get what you're saying. I also, what I enjoy about that as well is that you don't have to always talk to each other. It's never an awkward silence.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it's so comfortable and comforting.
Mhm.
And you can just like, I'm really getting into Agatha Christie mystery books right now. So I'm just like devouring them.
Mhm.
And I'll just be sitting there reading, and then he'll be like playing his video games or doing some CS stuff on his computer that I don't know what that is, but um, yeah, it's exactly what you said. It's just like existing together. I love that.
Yeah. Also, like a lot of my own personal hobbies they're like done individually, like in the home.
Mhm.
Like a lot of crafty slash like baking stuff like that. Like that's most of my
Mhm.
hobbies are in that way. So, like if I'm able to just do that in the same space, I would love that because I'm just like doing something I love, but then someone I love is also like right there.
Mhm.
So it's like I don't have to, be completely devoting time not to doing the hobbies and then but also like not ignoring my significant other.
Mhm.
So I think but I do like to go out and like do things together. So like I feel like on the spectrum I'm like a little bit more towards homebody than you,
Mhm.
but
Yeah.
I'm not like a complete recluse where I just like sit in the basement all the time and don't want to leave.
Yeah. Well, how did you meet your boo?
Oh yeah, so this is something, another thing we have in common. I met him on an online dating app. The very funny thing is I met him 3 or 4 weeks before the quarantine started. So that's been
Yeah.
fun.
Mhm.
And you met your significant other. I don't think we met them on the same app.
Wait, what app did you meet your significant? You don't have to say if you don't
No,
want
I met
to.
him on Hinge.
Oh no, we did not meet on the same app. Oh, I thought we did. I don't know why I thought that, but I met my boyfriend on Tinder, which sounds. I mean, honestly, no. I like. It's not a bad thing to meet somebody on an online dating app, even if it is Tinder, because that is known for being
Yeah.
more like a hookup app. Although we weren't, I don't know what we like him and I were doing on that app, to be honest, because like we weren't looking for that. I mean, that's fine if you are, but my
Yeah.
personal preference, I really am not into that. I don't know. Like it's just not for me.
Yeah.
I was looking for somebody to date and like potentially like I don't know. I was just looking for somebody to date. I didn't really have too many expectations. I
Mhm.
wasn't looking to hook up with anybody. I
Yeah.
happened upon this man and now he's my boyfriend.
I feel
It's
like that because you guys met in undergrad, right?
yeah, we both yeah, we both went to the same university. I mean, I guess we should talk about online dating a little bit because I have some thoughts on it.
Oh yeah. But I feel like for you, like utilizing it on a college campus is kind of like a good thing because it's kind of hard to meet people outside of your major after a certain point.
Yeah, I mean,
So I feel
like,
like that's helpful.
yeah, he and I talk about it sometimes, and we're like, we would have never met,
Hmm.
um, because he and I weren't even in the same like college. So he was in the E school, which is the
Hmm.
engineering school, and I was in the College of Arts and Sciences. We would have never met. Like none of our
Yeah.
classes would have overlapped.
Hmm.
So it's just really interesting to see our lives and our different like friends come together because we are so different, but it's like it's been really fun.
Hmm.
But honestly, even though like I was using it like at university,
Hmm.
it was still really like scary at first.
Oh yeah. You have to be really careful on those apps. Like it doesn't matter which app it is, but like there's
Yeah,
crazies on all of them.
yeah. And honestly, it was probably even scarier for you because you weren't using it at a university.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm not with the boyfriend I had in college anymore, so I was using this like as, outside of college, and I was looking for people like over the age of 22. So like, which is another thing. I've tried dating I tried dating someone who was younger than me, like by
mhm,
like a year or two. And
mhm,
I feel like at our age, like it does make a difference in maturity, but like maybe like when we're older, like if you're older, it doesn't make that much of a difference, but like kind of at our age, like early 20s, like a year
yeah,
between people kind of can highlight different maturity levels.
definitely.
And I
Um,
couldn't do it. Like it was too immature.
yeah, I can't even imagine dating somebody a year or two younger than me right now.
Hmm.
Because we're in our early 20s, early to mid. I mean, we're getting to our mid
We're getting
20s.
close to mid 20s.
Yeah. But yeah, I just wanted to say like there's nothing wrong with meeting your significant other on a dating app and you shouldn't be ashamed of it because
Yeah.
honestly, it's just like the way the world works nowadays.
Yeah.
And it's hard to meet people honestly. Like I mean, it's tough with even with the dating app.
Yeah. I mean,
So,
honestly, I get weirded out when strangers talk to me like in public. Um, so you're not gonna have like a meet cute with me at wherever, like at the grocery store. Like if you're talking to me in the grocery store, I'm probably like, why are you talking to
yeah. Yeah,
me?
exactly. I just like I don't know. I couldn't do it. I would be freaked out too.
Yeah. Did you get any weird like matches?
You know what's weird? He was like one of the first matches I got.
Oh, really?
I wasn't on the app for very long. Like I was really lucky to find somebody that I mean, I didn't know it at the time because I didn't know if we were compatible or not. Obviously, you can't
Hmm.
tell over Tinder profile, you know.
Yeah.
But I was lucky enough to not be searching or on the app too long. So I didn't have too many weird experiences, to be honest. But there were, I mean, I did notice that there were like a lot of guys who would like start talking to you and then they would just like stop and then like pick up a few days later. And I'm
Hmm.
just like not about that. Like, if you're interested in me, then you should probably like show your interest. But obviously they weren't.
Yeah.
And the one who was interested I ended up dating and still am. So yeah, what about you? Did you get any weird things happening?
A little bit. I wasn't on there for that long, like in comparison either. I was
Mm.
on there, I think maybe like a month or a month and a half.
Mm.
So I actually met like two or three people before I met with my current boyfriend.
Mm.
I went on like one or two dates, maybe three with a couple of them.
Mm.
Uh, I matched with one guy and I didn't remember, but he actually like went to my school and was friends with my roommates and he like stayed over at our apartment before, but I didn't like remember him. But he
Oh
remembered
my
me
gosh.
because back then I was vegetarian and he was like, saying that he remembered that I was vegetarian and stuff like that. And I felt so bad because I didn't remember him at all.
Who are you again?
I felt so bad. But we went on one date, but I felt too awkward. Like,
Yeah.
because once we like went on the date, it felt kind of more like a friend thing. And I think
Mm.
that had to, I feel bad saying I think it had to do with that he already knew who I was and I didn't like remember him. That was pretty embarrassing.
That's so
And just
funny.
that he's like friends with the same people I was friends with, and I wouldn't really date because I had all guy roommates in undergrad, and I didn't have like any feelings towards them, so I feel like I
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't have any feelings towards their friends,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Yeah.
So I tried to give it a shot, but I couldn't do it. I just didn't feel it didn't feel like a romantic date. It felt like I was hanging out with a friend.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think my boyfriend told me I was the first person he met like in person on there, and I
Mm-hmm.
felt bad because he was like the fourth.
That's so funny. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh. Yeah.
but yeah. I did get but your original question, I did get a couple of like not like terribly weird messages, but I did get a couple people asking like just straight up what was my ethnicity,
Mm-hmm.
which like was kind of annoying
Yeah.
because I was kind of like, I have tons of other things on my profile you could have asked me about. Because like Hinge, you can put more like about yourself, like there's prompts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So they could have asked about a lot of different things, but instead they were just like, no intro, like, what's your ethnicity?
Ew.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah, that's weird. I mean, I think I've already said this on my first date with my boyfriend. He asked me if I like sushi because I mentioned that I was half, and I was like, oh man. Internally, I was like, come on, another one.
Hmm.
But I just like, I asked him about it later, like once we actually like started dating, and he just like genuinely did not know a lot about Japan or the Japanese people, and I was like, that's okay. I mean, that's fair.
Hmm.
I guess we could talk about cultural differences and stuff now, or like,
Yeah, during dating and stuff.
yeah, I guess this is like a good segue. I wasn't expecting it to be, but he really respects my culture and how close I am with it. And he
Hmm.
wants to learn more about it all the time, which I really appreciate.
Hmm.
He never makes me feel weird about it, and he's never objectified me, or, I mean, he's just been really great. He always wants to learn about my culture, which I don't know, I really like and appreciate that.
Hmm.
And I always want to learn about his cultural background too.
Hmm.
But yeah, I guess it's like a good segue into cultural differences.
Yeah. I think for me, I guess it's more relevant for me to talk about my ex, actually. So
Mm-hmm.
I mentioned him in the last episode. He was from China. Like, he was born in China, came here for university. And so we had a lot of cultural differences that didn't seem like too bad in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
It was stuff we could deal with. And, like, we had some similarities because, like, I mean, he made it sound really weird, like his American girlfriend. Like, he was very, you know, he emphasized that a lot, that I was like his American girlfriend. But I think if he dated someone who was like 100% white and wasn't, part of an Asian culture, it wouldn't have worked out for him, to be honest. Because it would just be too many differences, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So there were a lot of cultural similarities, as in like values and stuff like that, but we clashed a lot when it came to, I think, what we wanted from the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I went to China, I actually did go meet his family, and it was very like hush hush, the fact that like his parents knew I was his girlfriend, but like anyone that else that saw me that wasn't like his parents and his siblings, I was just like his friend from America that was
Mm-hmm.
like there for studying, so I stopped by. I didn't go to China like just to meet his family. I was actually there to like study. And I just, I was like, why not?
Mm-hmm.
So there was like a lot of differences with that because my family was very welcoming to him.
Mm-hmm.
All my cousins, all my parents and aunts and uncles and stuff like that. We were very welcoming to him as just like an addition to the family.
Mhm.
And like his family, I actually really liked his family. They did make me feel like very welcome as like, but like, kind of like as a guest, not like in the way like this is our son's girlfriend.
Mhm. Yeah.
There were also just a lot of differences about how we treated the relationship. I think he was much more open to saying, I think there's kind of like this known thing where like saying I love you, like in English, can be thrown around a lot. But like when you
Yeah.
say it in a relationship, that's a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
But like I think in a couple Asian languages, I think in Japanese and in Chinese, there's like kind of different levels of saying I love you. Like there's like a really serious way to say it, and then there's like one that's like a little more when we say like oh I love to eat this and stuff like that.
Mhm. Yeah.
But so there's like a more serious one and a less serious one that you can like throw around.
Mhm. Yep.
But like English doesn't have that. But he said I love you very early.
Mhm.
And just like the way he would express it is just very different than what I was expecting.
Mhm.
And I think that also caused a lot of issues, is like it was just the way that we thought the relationship was supposed to go wasn't the same. So I'm not saying this is true for everyone in a relationship where one person isn't like assimilated into the culture. Like it can work, but there you have to just be like aware of what's a cultural difference. This is my problem. You have to be aware of what's a cultural difference and what is like them being a shitty person that they
Mhm.
you know like you have to be aware of like what is something that you can work on and address based on like a cultural difference, and then something that's like a personality trait of theirs that's like they're a shitty person.
Yeah.
I don't have too many cultural differences with my current boyfriend. He's very open. I think we're both pretty open about learning about each other's cultures,
Mhm.
since he's Asian American, but he's not Vietnamese. But he's pretty open about learning about Vietnamese stuff, and I'm pretty open about learning about his culture.
Mhm.
That was another thing. I was like, obviously, I minored in Chinese, so I kind of knew a decent amount about like his culture. But he was like actually pretty dismissive when I would try to tell him stuff about Vietnamese culture.
Yeah.
Which like now that I'm looking, hindsight's 2020, it felt pretty disrespectful.
Yeah.
Don't date people that disrespect like where you come from.
Yeah. Or just disrespect you in general. Just
Yeah,
don't.
ladies,
Re-
don't let people disrespect you.
Respect yourself
Hmm.
enough to get out of that.
Yeah.
And we know how tough it can be. Lynn and I have been through shitty relationships,
Hmm.
and it's tough to get out of it and also to even see what's wrong with it.
Yeah.
But eventually, somebody or maybe you will, yourself will get a wake up call and you're going to see the light and you're going to get out of it. And then you're going
Hmm.
to, you know, you're going to
Yeah.
feel at first like, oh my God, woe is me.
Yeah. Even if you're not like the initiator of breaking it off, like,
Yeah.
and you're gonna feel like shit for a while, honestly.
Yeah.
Especially if it's like, your first love or whatever. But like, honestly, when I look back on it, it was like the best thing that, came out of it was like not being with them anymore.
Yeah.
Like, you
And
can just thank them in your mind, like, thank the universe for, giving you the good memories and any lessons and stuff like that, you know,
yeah,
from the
seriously.
relationship, and then thank them for getting you out of it.
Yeah. And you might even, I know I felt and said so many times, like, I'm never going to meet somebody who's going to know me the way that they did. And that's such a lie.
Oh my
You
God,
are
we were such
totally,
clowns.
yeah, literally clown emoji.
I knew
Yeah.
you when we broke up, and like I was being like such a sad boy.
Yeah, but I knew you just like had to go through it. And I was like, this is okay. Like, I know she's going to like, she's going to get through it. She's going to meet somebody who's even better. And
Yeah.
guess what happened?
Yeah. By the way, that meme, guys, that all the boys' names that start with a J are pieces of shit. It's true. Summer and I are evidence.
We won't say the names, but
No, but they did start
y'all
with
know who
J's.
you are. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Honestly, I didn't have a lot of cultural differences with my ex.
Hmm.
And, like, I mean, because I'm American and he was American.
Hmm.
I mean, he was Mormon though, but he wasn't like hardcore Mormon.
Hmm.
Like his family drink Coke and stuff.
Hmm.
But like, he just was like a shitty person. Or let me take that back. We were bad for each other, but I think our relationship got so bad to the point where he turned into a really bad boyfriend, and I wasn't the best girlfriend.
Hmm.
We just weren't good for each other. He wasn't ambitious. He couldn't understand. He wasn't going to university and I was.
Hmm.
And I was like trying to encourage him to go even though it's not for everyone, but he literally had no other ambitions in life and I didn't see him going anywhere and I
Hmm.
couldn't see like my life with this guy
Yeah.
because I really wanted a lot for myself
Right.
and I need to be with somebody who also wants a lot for themselves too, and
Hmm.
then for us as like a couple,
Hmm.
as like a team.
You need someone that's gonna like support you in your own growth and like grow with you.
Yeah,
Like
that too.
especially because you are ambitious too, you know.
Yeah,
So you need someone who's also ambitious to like grow with you.
yeah, and to challenge you too, because you
Hmm.
don't want. Another thing is like he wasn't like I couldn't really have so many intelligent conversations with him. Not to say that he was dumb, but it just very surface level conversations when I would look back on the relationship.
Yeah, I had that same problem. He wasn't dumb, but he wouldn't, when we were just trying to have an intelligent conversation.
Hmm.
It would end up not really going anywhere because he would kind of chalk it up to like he couldn't, because English wasn't his first language.
Hmm.
He would
Yeah.
chalk it up to like he didn't really know how to express it in English, which is fine,
Yeah.
but he wouldn't like try to make the effort to continue the conversation. He would just say that and then just like it would end there.
Yeah.
So it a lot of the conversations didn't really come to fruition, which when it comes to communication, it like can be kind of hard in that sense if like they're just not willing to try to communicate. And I would like, try to, ask questions about, whatever we were discussing, like in a roundabout way, like maybe we could try to find other words to use it, like try to meet him halfway.
Hmm.
But like it didn't work out that way.
Yeah.
He would kind of give up when we
Yeah.
were trying to have a
That's,
conversation.
yeah. Honestly, it's so important to be with somebody who can hold a conversation with you at your level.
Yeah, and you shouldn't be
Um,
afraid to tell them like how you feel.
exactly.
Now that when I look back, there is some things that like he didn't even know about me,
Hmm.
which is like because we dated for like 2 years. And if like you've been with someone for that long and there's still like some kind of things that they don't really know about you,
Yeah.
like things that aren't just surface level, that's kind of when I look back, like at the time I was like, it doesn't really matter, but it does kind of matter if you're not like past that at that point.
Yeah. I mean, it does matter. They should want to get to know you, want to know everything about you,
Hmm.
in my opinion. I think that's important.
Yeah.
And when I look back on it, he never really like asked me about my culture a lot or really embraced it or tried our foods or anything. I mean, it's like I think he thought of it like I think he really
He just ignored it, right?
I guess he like ignored it or
Hmm.
he didn't embrace it how somebody should if they love you.
Yeah, like he didn't care about it, but in the sense that like he didn't think it was an important part of you to learn about.
Yeah, exactly. even though I've made it clear, and like if you know me even an ounce, you would know that that's like
It's a big
super
part of who you
important.
are. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's a big part of who I am. I mean, like I grew up in Japan for 9 years, you know? Like
Hmm.
it's just like, it's so important to me and who I am.
Yeah.
But yeah, I never even thought about that until now. Like he never really embraced it, wanted to try the foods or asked me about the culture, like the religion in that country, or like
Hmm.
how I even felt about religion in general.
Yeah.
On it, like I said, very surface level. I like, did I even know this guy? Like, did he even know me? I don't
Hmm.
know, to
Yeah.
be honest. And yeah, I wasted like some years off of my life. Not wasted. I learned a lot from this, but
Yeah. I wouldn't
it.
call them waste as much as we feel like they were a waste of our time.
I
But like
mean,
you learn from those relationships and stuff like that. So like it is what it is, you know.
I didn't waste my time. I did learn a lot from it. I learned to respect myself
Yeah. Same.
and to hold a higher standard
Yeah.
to what
Don't
I deserve.
don't lower your standards, guys, just to like find somebody
No,
because
do
you're just
not settle. Do not say to yourself, like I said to myself, I'm never going to find somebody that knows me as well as he does. No, this
yeah.
clown didn't even know me. Like, but who's the real clown? Me, probably. But no, it's okay to go through that stuff. I think a lot of us go through it,
Hmm.
but it's just knowing. And like I said, I don't think he's like all that bad of a person. I just don't think that we were good together.
Hmm.
And I hope that like our exes get to grow and learn from what
Yeah.
they went through with us too, you know.
Yeah.
And I hope they become better people and can be better for them, whoever they encounter later.
Hmm. Yeah, at this point you just wish them the best, like
Yeah, yeah,
best in their
exactly.
life, but don't have anything to do with me, please.
Yeah, exactly. Don't contact me. I have so many stories about this person. They're just awful, to be honest.
You brought up something that kind of was like one of the question that we wanted to talk about. You said he was Mormon, right?
Yeah,
I kind of wanted to know how you felt about religion in dating in general, because like for some people, it's some people are like obviously pretty religious and
yeah,
stuff like that, and I know especially for mixed people, especially a lot of their parents are usually different religions,
yeah.
and some people like think it doesn't work because if people are really religious.
Yeah.
So I wanted to know about what you thought about that.
Yeah, I mean, like I think personally, I'm not, like I said, I think I've said this before. I'm not very religious, so
Mhm.
I don't think I could ever see myself with somebody who is really like super religious and like
Mhm.
to the point where they would ask me to convert to their
Mhm.
religion
Mhm.
if I wasn't of their religion. I think it's super important to be on the same page as your significant other as you start to get serious, and even maybe in the beginning it could be a good conversation to have,
Mhm.
because you really don't want to waste your time with somebody if you're not on the same page for a lot of the things, like important
Yeah.
things,
Mhm.
especially if you're thinking about getting serious with them.
Yeah.
Religion is super important to talk about, because maybe they have the view that they want to raise their kids in a certain religion. You're like, I really don't care. I don't want to go to church
Mhm.
or whatever. But I will say that one thing I do feel strongly about is my Japanese culture, and we've talked about this before. That culture and like religious things are kind of like meshed together.
Mhm.
At least they are in Japan.
Mhm.
And I've mentioned one of the things that we do is we go to a temple or a shrine on New Year's Day. Like
Mhm.
things like that, I would never want to give up, and I never
Mhm.
will give up for
Right.
anybody. But that's more of a cultural thing, in my opinion. I get you
Yeah.
can see it as religious. I can see how it would be seen that way, but I what I think is it's just important to be upfront with how you feel about religion slash your cultural like things you participate in that are cultural, and they need to be honest with you as well. And if you
Hmm.
can't see, like, if you both can't accept or respect each other's, like, cultural or religious views, then you shouldn't be in the relationship, in my opinion, because it's really not going to work out. It's going to be like an arguing point later, or even sooner than you think in the relationship, and it could ultimately break you.
Right.
Yeah. How do you feel about it?
I mean, I think like it, yeah, people make it work. Like it's fine. Like I know when my
Yeah.
parents had me, like they didn't make my mom convert, but they had to, in order for them to get married, like in a church, they had to basically like swear they were gonna raise the children Catholic or whatever
Mm,
in order for them
yeah.
to like get married by a priest or something.
Mm-hmm.
So my mom's still like Buddhist.
Yeah.
We talked about it in our religion episode. I'm not religious either. I think I'm the same as you. I couldn't really date anyone that was like extremely religious. Like if you practice and follow religion, I think that's fine.
Yeah.
But if you're like extremely religious, I'm probably not the person for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think I would ever convert either to anyone's like if someone asked
Yeah.
me to convert, that would be a really hard discussion.
Yeah. That's a lot.
That is a lot. What made me think about this is sometimes my mom, she asks me like, because she knows I'm not religious, and like
Mm-hmm.
I do like the same cultural things like that we talked about, or about like temple for Lunar New Year and stuff like that, and like Buddha's birthday and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
So I do like stuff with the Buddhist temple. So she's always like, what if you end up with someone and they wanna have like a religious wedding? And I'm just like, well, if it's Catholic, it's fine. I've gone through all the sacraments. Like, we're not gonna have an issue there.
Yeah.
I I don't think I want a religious ceremony. If my partner wanted one,
It
I I
depends.
I would be open to it,
Yeah.
like discussing it
Yeah.
and like figuring out how to work that in.
Yeah.
I don't particularly want one, but you make sacrifices for the person you love.
Yeah. I mean,
So
relation.
if my person was religious to the point that they really wanted a religious ceremony, like sure, I would probably go through with it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really know what I want. I think I do want somewhat of a religious ceremony, but like non I would want somebody who's non-denominational
Mhm.
or do it in like a non-denominational place or setting.
Mhm.
Nothing extreme for me, honestly.
Mhm.
I don't know. I guess it would depend on what the other person would want too, because they get a say as well.
Yeah. If you couldn't tell, I'm not one of those people that start planning their wedding at the age of 5. I literally still don't know what I want. Like I'm definitely
I mean, it
gonna
would be
need.
impossible to know.
Yeah. But there's like some people that like know exactly what they want when they're kids and like think about getting married when it's like their dream to be married.
Yeah, no, dude, there's a movie about that. It's called Bride Wars. Good movie. 10 out of 10. It's on Hulu. But I mean, is it really a good movie though? It's probably pretty awful, to be honest. But basically, these girls, they've known that they wanted to get married at the Plaza Hotel in June since they were like 8. And I'm like, dang, I don't know the details down to that. I mean, I can
Yeah,
think of
like
beautiful settings that I would not mind.
I like still don't even know what I don't I actually have thought about this like in the past couple of years. I don't think I want to wear like a traditional like American style wedding dress. I think I do want to wear like a wedding haoyai, which is like the Vietnamese one.
Oh, that would be so beautiful.
I mean, they're honestly like much cheaper and you get them tailored, like straight up
Dude.
tailored to you. So honestly, I think it's the move because it's form fitting and
Yeah.
pretty. So like, and hundreds of dollars cheaper than buying like a freaking sequined wedding dress or
Dude, you
whatever.
can spend so much money. Like, people spend so much money. I'm like not trying to drop,
I'm not
I
trying
don't
to have
know.
half the wedding budget be my dress. Like,
Yeah, no, like I'd rather go on a nice vacation, like slash honeymoon after than like
hmm
spend. like so much money on the dress.
Hmm.
Like
Yeah.
you could probably get something like from Zara that'll look good. No, seriously though. Like
Yeah.
obviously it's like the one day whatever. But like and you want to look beautiful and stuff, but like you
Yeah.
don't want to like break the bank.
Yeah.
I mean, if you've got the money,
Yeah. Some people that like really dream about their wedding for like years and years, like if you want to go all out, that's
you
that's
yeah,
you.
you do you.
I like still don't even know. I don't even know like what I want to do. Like, will I even, get married? Gotta find someone to marry me first. Like,
Yeah. I mean, I know I want to, but I don't know. I mean, I don't have anything planned. It's dumb to plan. So, to me, it's really, especially in light of COVID and stuff, like it's just like not smart to plan something right now. Also,
yeah,
I'm not engaged, so I don't plan on it. I'm not gonna plan my wedding until I'm engaged. I
I
I
also
don't know.
personally feel like, a lot of people say, like, it's the bride's day, but I honestly hate that sentiment because the groom is there too. Like, it's both of their days. So I personally would want to plan it together with whoever I was getting married with.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
because it's both of your days, it's not just the bride's day.
It's about your love.
Yeah, so I don't understand people that like they're like, it's like the bridezillas are like, it's my wedding and I want it this way. Like, it takes two to tango, honey.
Yeah, I mean, I can see when okay, I disagree. It's not just the bride's day. I can see when people are like the bride is like the main I hate to say this, the main attraction. But it is the bride that she gets like the most attention because she's walking down the aisle. If you do it
Hmm.
traditionally in America, she's walking down the aisle and stuff. Like I can see why she is given the most attention because
Hmm.
she um looks
She is
beautiful
the
and
center of
like
attention.
yeah, she's the center of attention. But it is both of your days.
Hmm.
And yeah, I agree. I would want to plan it with my significant other. Unless they were like, "Oh, you pick the flowers," then I would be like, "Okay,
Oh,
I'm
I
gonna pick the
can't. I
flowers."
need I need someone to help me make decisions. I can't make decisions by
But then
myself.
that's when you call a friend.
I like can't make decisions for myself about anything, so I would definitely need whoever I was getting married to like help me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Especially for like food, I would need help. I can't decide. I can never decide on food. I would need help on that so bad.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Because I would want to people please everyone, which would mean having like different food for everyone.
Hmm.
And that's just, I don't want to think about it. I don't want to plan.
No,
It's just
I
too
get
hard right
stressed
now.
out. I get stressed out thinking about it.
Yeah, I don't need to deal with that right now. Like it's too much. Anyway, I think we derailed a little. Cultural differences. Or no, we were talking about religious differences.
Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously, it can work out even if you have completely different.
Yeah, I mean some people convert
Yeah, some people do that.
for
If you're
their
fine with that,
significant other. Yeah.
yeah,
Like,
do it then if you're okay with it.
yeah. But I think if two people are two different religions and they just won't compromise, then obviously it's not going to work because compromise is a big part of any relationship in
Yeah.
general, not just about religion. So if you're like not willing to compromise at all for each other's like religious beliefs, like then obviously it's not going to work out.
Yeah. It's just something you need to talk about with your significant other.
Yeah, so I don't think it's a deal breaker for everybody. Like for some people it's a deal breaker, but if you have like cultural and religious differences, like it can still work out. You just have to like both be the kind of people that want to learn and compromise with each other.
Yeah, exactly.
What's your favorite thing about your current boyfriend?
My favorite thing. He makes time for me.
So he respects you, basically.
Yeah. It's just so important to me when you come from something that, like a relationship where you weren't respected a lot, and
Hmm.
then you go into one. Honestly, I couldn't believe like how different it felt.
Yeah.
It didn't feel like real, or like I was worried. I was like, what's the catch? Basically, I was thinking to myself, what's the catch? What's the catch with this? Like
Oh my
there's
God, I
always got
felt
to
the
be.
same way.
Yeah, I just, it's because when you are in something like that and then you go into something that's just like seemingly perfect, you're like, oh my God, there's got to be something wrong, because you are like, you just don't know what it's like
Hmm.
to be respected. And then once you are just so, it feels so foreign to you.
Hmm.
And it's just honestly shocking. It shocked me. I couldn't, I don't know.
No, I completely understand.
It was
There's
so
like,
weird.
there was kind of a weird part I remember in the beginning of my current relationship where there would be things that we would talk about, or like things he would say, and I would just be so, I was very enamored with basic human decency, like
Yeah.
basic respect in a relationship. And it made me, and
Yeah.
like when your significant other's reaction is like it's just me being like normal, like basic decency to you,
Yeah.
then you think back about like why you think it's so, like, you craved that so bad, you know?
Yeah. You seriously do.
It like blows your mind at first, and then like, but then you realize that's like normal for people to treat you like that when the other person's reaction is like, why are you so like thankful for that, you know?
Yeah. I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that because it's just so weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's my favorite thing. He makes time for me,
Hmm.
everything. And he wants to see me, and he shows it too. It's not just the words, because I used to be fed just words with
Yeah.
no action.
Hmm.
And now I get to be with somebody genuine,
Hmm.
and that also reciprocates how I feel too. I also just love that he's so ambitious, and like he's got these huge goals for himself. Oh my gosh, like I just can't tell you how attractive and like important that is to me, because it's just we're so aligned.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Hmm.
It's just we're quite different in a lot of ways because we have a lot of different interests. He's like a CS boy.
Hmm.
He likes computer science and computers, and I don't really know a lot about that. I mean, we just have completely different interests, and then we have so many of the same interests too at the same time, and it's just, I don't know. I think we're a
Yeah.
really good pair. We always tell each other we're such a good team.
Aw.
Yeah, he's really like the best human being I've met. He's so kind. Oh my gosh, he couldn't hurt a fly. And then there's me. I'm like super sarcastic, and like, and honestly, the sarcasm's rubbing off on him too. He's getting more sarcastic, and it's throwing me off lately. I'm like, whoa, dang. But he's really just like I said, he couldn't hurt a fly. He's so kind to like
Hmm.
everyone. And
He is really
um,
nice. I've met him.
yeah, yeah. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you got to meet him.
Yeah. He's a cool guy.
Yeah, and he likes. Oh, another thing, he likes my friends too.
Oh yeah, that's
It
pretty important.
it is so important because like if your friends, I mean, it's pretty telling when your family and your friends don't like your significant other. They see things that you don't see, and
Hmm.
then you meet someone and your friends absolutely love him, and like you guys can get along and hang out together and have fun, and then your family really likes them. Like it's really
Exactly.
telling.
Yeah.
I mean, not necessarily for all situations,
Hmm.
but it's
I'll
it's
just say I
nice.
should have seen that as a sign.
Yeah, me too. Even with my friends, like verbatim saying, "Get out of this relationship," and I was like, "What do you mean?"
Oh.
It's love is very blind.
Yeah,
Um,
it's stupid blind.
yeah, and if you're one of those people that needs to hear this, you got this. You're strong. You don't need anybody. That's. I also want to drive that point home too. Although Lynn and I are like very happy with
You
who
need
we
time
are
for
with,
yourself. Like being
yeah,
single is also great.
yeah, you need to get to know yourself, and you also don't lose yourself too,
Yeah,
no
don't
matter
make your whole
how.
personality like your significant other.
Yeah, no, not at all. You have your own hobbies. Honestly, like
Yeah, because you guys
that,
need that space too.
yeah, you need that space, and also you need to just be yourself.
Hmm.
So have your own hobbies that don't involve each other, but then have stuff that you do together too.
Hmm.
But yeah, just don't lose yourself. Yeah, because I know I've heard that like it's easy to do that
Hmm.
when you get caught up in the relationship. And honestly, I think I did at some point with my previous relationship.
Hmm.
It's really important to stick to who you are and never let go of that. But I know that can be tough sometimes when you want to see your significant other all the time. You want to see them and be around them all the time, and you want to do
Hmm.
everything together. And but then
Yeah.
like eventually you're gonna be like, oh my god, I want to be alone, and I just want to have like just like a night alone, and
Hmm.
just read a book or knit or play The Sims or sew. Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you? What's your favorite thing?
Um, I think that I can be myself around him.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
don't have to have a filter. Like,
Yes.
basically, yeah, I don't have to have a filter. He also, like, I guess the best way to say it is he's very encouraging in the same way, like, towards my goals. Like, the example that, like, really sticks with me a lot is I changed jobs, like, from when I used to work with Summer in the mid, like, last July slash August, like so in the middle of the pandemic in like the summer of 2020. I didn't really know. Basically, I was like when I was applying for the job, I was super unqualified because it requires a degree I'm still studying for right now. Like I'm almost done with it, but it required that and like some experience and like I didn't know anything about it at that point, but he was like so encouraging for me to just like try it and apply anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And just like he was very helpful with a lot of things I was trying to go through with like the process and everything, and just so encouraging to me about going for like this job, which has like the job has like kind of not like changed my life. That's like dramatic, but like but like it's been such a good thing for me. And I just think back a lot, like I appreciate it so much that he's so encouraging of me, like for school and for work and stuff like that. Because when I think about that and I try to think back about my ex, if I tried to tell him about the job posting and stuff, he probably like would just dismiss it and say, "Oh, okay." And then like no encouragement, no like pushing towards like trying new things and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
There's just like so
Yeah.
much more support there for like my future.
I totally get what you're saying because mine was the same way. He didn't, I think I forgot to mention this, but like he didn't, because he wasn't going to school, he didn't understand how important it was to me.
Hmm.
And so he never encouraged me in that aspect, which is a large part of your life when you're an undergrad student.
Hmm.
Yeah. So it's just the differences are so it's just so crazy how something
Them
so
encouraging
simple.
your growth like as a
Yeah.
person is very important. Like if they're dismissive about it
Or
and
they don't
about
even care
like
to. Yeah.
yeah, or like big decisions about stuff like that. Because I know for a fact if I brought up like the job listing to my ex, like they would have just been like not really caring about the fact, they would just say like, "Oh, cool," like whatever. Like it's not, it wouldn't have been, it would have been a passing thing. Like I wouldn't have even thought to apply for the job. But like with my current significant other, it was like there was so much encouragement to just try, like even though I was like technically not qualified for it, and just take a chance, and like because it was a really good opportunity for me, like career wise,
Mm-hmm.
to just try.
Yeah.
And I never would have done it if he wasn't so supportive.
Aww.
Yeah. So yeah, basically no filter.
Yeah. I mean, this is obvious, but like you want someone that can help you grow and challenge you and encourage you and wants to see you grow.
Hmm.
Because you never really should stop growing. You should always be like wanting to improve yourself. And even if it's in the smallest way,
Hmm.
something so simple like that can make such a big difference in your life and who you are and who you become, what you two become as like a couple too.
Yeah, your growth together is important too.
Yes, you're a team.
All right, I think we're done gushing about our significant others.
Yeah.
It's gonna
Um,
get too gross and mushy if we keep going.
yeah, I know, right? People are gonna say, "You, I don't want to hear it anymore."
Yeah, so we'll just thank you guys for listening. We post every other Wednesday anywhere you stream podcasts and on YouTube. And we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.